From the studios of Hunt the Night. I don't know if anyone else just had a flashback there to Hey It's Saturday, but that's just something I've always wanted to do. Anyway, guys, it's Ben here from huntthenight.com.au again with world-class video edits, and today we're going to have a little bit of chat about numbers, and there's a couple of numbers we're going to focus on today. One is base magnification and one is sensor resolution, and I've got a couple of scopes here in front of me, and I'm just going to start. If you guys go back, or if you haven't watched my things to think about before you buy a thermal scope video, or whatever I named it, if you watch that, when I present that information with the three scopes on the bench, just assume that they're all base magnification 1. I should have said that up front, because this, this topic that we're talking about in terms of sensors and now base magnification and sensors, it's all linked, but it's all pretty in-depth, and that information would have been a bit more truer if I'd have put that up, front. That was one of the things I was thinking about, but not one of the things I said. I tend to do that. So today I've actually got two scopes on the bench, and I've got and it doesn't matter which scopes we have. This is not a brand specific. I'm only mentioning the brands to tell you, to give you context of what we have, okay? The Pulsar Trail 2, the XP50, which has got a base magnification of 2, and that's a 640 by 480 sensor. On the right here, I've got my Ricoh RL42 with a 4 base magnification, and that's a 384 by 288 sensor. And the reason I picked these two scopes is because we're going to have a look at zoom. Not everyone, a lot of people talk about the need for having, the 640, the biggest sensor that you can have, in order to get the best picture quality that you have. Well, there's a lot of things that actually influence that. On base magnification, all things are going to look pretty good, with the 640 by 480, because it's got a heck of a lot of sensors. So the way sensors work is a bit like your screen resolution. When you talk about 640 by 480, you've got, if you picture a square, you've got 640 sensors along the bottom, and you've got 480 sensors along the top, and every row that along that bottom, there's 480 sensors. So you build a grid of a whole heap of sensors, and you end up having 307,200 sensors. Now, I'm going to call them pixels from now on, because otherwise I'm going to confuse myself at some point, I'm sure, by calling them the other, All right, I'm sorry for interrupting this broadcast, but listening back, I totally screwed up what I was trying to say. So I'm going to draw it for you. The 640 by 480, or the 384 by 288 works like this, okay? Say we have a square type thing. We'll call this a sensor, okay? And it doesn't matter which one and I'm not an artist. It doesn't matter which one we're using or talking about, or whichever sensor definition we're talking about, this information is true. So we're going to call this 640, we're going to call this 488. So this one here, we have 640 sensors along the bottom, like this. I'm not going to draw 640. And we have 488 going this way, okay? And then for every sensor row, we have 488 in the column. And that goes on and on and on and on until that's backfilled. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of building a sensor and the number of sensors, okay? And these will individually change, depend on the amount of radiation and heat they're absorbing. So, in the infrared 640s, that's 640 by 512. And then you have other scopes as well with lower sensors. You've got 320s and so on. So it doesn't matter. Just for a visual concept, this is how it works and builds that sensor. Back to resuming our original broadcast. Either or. And everyone talks about pixels, but they're sensors. They're the bits of technology that are picking up that infrared heat signatures that, then they respond, and then the core interprets that and that core has got some software as well in it, and then it puts a picture on your viewfinder, and that's what you see, okay? But the sensors, really, they just respond to heat and pass that information through. Now, if we look at the RL42, it's got 384 by 288, or a total of 110,592 sensors. There's some pretty big numbers. We're going to just use round numbers here. So you've got 307,000 in the Pulsar and 110,000 in the Ricoh. So automatically you must assume that the Pulsar is going to have a 3 times better image quality, except that the Ricoh starts at 4 base magnification. And this is the bit where people, I think, get a little confused about what's going on. Because unlike, traditional cameras, those big, SLR cameras that have got a lens on it, when you actually manipulate the zoom, you're manipulating the actual lens system within inside that lens. And, it changes the way that the glass is set up and the distance between the glass and so on to create a different zoom profile. With digital products, that's not how it works. While we still have our knobs to actually change the focus, the zoom is digital, and what that means is it's actually zooming upon itself. So where you started with 307,000 pixels, when you go from 2 times zoom to 4 times zoom in the Pulsar, you actually halve the number of pixels you're looking at. So by the time these two scopes are on equal playing field, the Pulsar has now got 153,000 sensors, pixels available, to the Ricoh's 110,000. And that's a lot closer. Now, I'm not saying that means the Pulsar's any worse. I'm just saying that it changes. And as you keep going further along, and I'll put some video up now of these two scopes side by side, taken at the same time in the same conditions. As these start zooming through, you'll see the effect of pixel degradation and image retention. At 8 times zoom, the Pulsar has now got 76,800 pixels, where the Ricoh is now down to 55,296 pixels. At 16 times zoom, the Pulsar's got 38,400, where the Ricoh has now got 27,648. And you can see in this maximum zoom at 16 times, the image quality is actually pretty close. That also has to do with another topic we'll discuss down the track called microns and the distance between these sensors. But the point of this is that you need to consider base magnification when you purchase a scope. Because if you want to shoot foxes at 200 meters, starting with a higher base magnification is actually going to give you a better value for money. I mean, there's, between the Pulsar and the Ricoh, there's about $4,000 difference in price. That's a lot of money when you get out to 200 meters and you're talking about having the same kind of, available sensors once you've zoomed right in. That's not to say that the 640 with a 2 base magnification doesn't have its place. Of course it does. I still use it when I shoot sambar deer because I'm shooting 0 to 50 meters. I don't zoom in really that much at all. And I want that nice field of view. So it's not one's better than the other. It's you need to understand that 640 by 480 doesn't necessarily mean better image quality. Base magnification is going to have a much greater effect on how you shoot and the quality of your scope than necessarily the sensor numbers that are in it. So just think about that, guys, because there's a huge difference in price between buying a 384 and a 288, as opposed to a 640 by 480. Is it right for you? I don't know. I can't make up that mind. I just wanted to point out to show you what happens to the actual image quality as you zoom and then apply that to how you shoot. As always, guys, I'm trying not to push any product on you. I don't like to do that. A lot of people who do these types of videos stack their videos with products and try and influence you. I'm not that type of guy. I swear, I'm not trying to influence you on any of these fine products that we have in stock and available on our website at huntthenight.com.au. Anyway, come and join us on Facebook, guys. You'll find us at Hunt the Night. You'll find our group, Hunt the Night Thermal Hunting Specialists. We put more information in there and answer questions. If there's anything else, let me know. Talk to you soon.